Super Bowl.
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown.
And Mahomes at bay.
The Tampa Bay Bucs, Super Bowl 55.
Hello and welcome back to the Bucs Banter podcast, or welcome if it is your first time joining us. I am your host, Colin Hallboom, joined by my co-host, Scott Capron and Bo Danyard. We've been off the air for a couple of weeks. Buccaneers are done, so we won't be going as frequently, but we will continue going throughout the offseason as we have done for the last couple of years. And we haven't touched on the Tom Brady thing. So Tom Brady has retired. It's not super unexpected, but that's something obviously we've been talking about plenty leading up to it. So that decision has been made, and that is something we're going to start the show off with tonight. We'll talk about the Bucs OC search. We'll catch up on some items related to the Buccaneers, and then we're gonna jump into a little bit of a impromptu Super Bowl preview, see where we're sitting on that, because it's Super Bowl week, so how could we not? And while you're here with us, just want to say thank you for joining us. Please make sure you check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, helps us out. Rate and review if you're listening to the podcast through whatever streaming service you use. We are live. We only go live. There's no editing, none of that fancy shit. We give it to you raw and unfiltered here at Bucs Banter. Hope you boys are doing well. Tom Brady retired. It was a far less dramatic presentation of his thoughts compared to previous years. I thought he owned it really well. I thought it was, speaking of raw and unfiltered, like it felt that way. And him just sitting on the beach and just kind of a little bit of self-deprecation, referencing last year, him unretiring and all that shit. But it looked to me like he'd been like sitting out on the beach watching the sunrise and was like, yep, I'm doing it. Like, this is it. I don't know. But what were your guys' thoughts initially when you heard the news that Brady was done?
Definitely funny that he's just like kind of solo single guy out there, right? Like anyone could have just walked by. I'm sure that's probably like a private beach on his like actual property or something, but it'd be funny if somebody was just walking by with their dog or something and being like, whoa, what's that guy doing? Is he just like filming a TikTok or what? Not shocking. I think I alluded to it the last time we were here. Brady retiring, probably the best thing the Bucs could hope for, really, from like a long-term team building standpoint. Obviously, kind of takes you out of the running of, depending on what you think of Kyle Trask or the other options that are out there, kind of takes you out of the running for the Super Bowl immediately. But from a team building standpoint, trying to get to a bottom out in a year where there's some uncertainty around the coaching staff as well too. So moving on, you kind of don't have to be as loyal to Bowles as you might have felt with Tom being there all year. So it's definitely interesting. Gonna miss him. I had so much fun watching him on the Bucs in particular, but throughout his career, just been one of the best quarterbacks has ever played the game. So
yeah. No, well said, Bo. And I agree with almost all of that, pretty much all of that actually. It just, from the actual video, Colin, I got the same vibe. It almost looked like he went out early in the morning. He took a walk, had a seat, and then just decided, this is what I'm going to do. I'm, 99% sure that wasn't the case. I'm sure everything that he does is quite calculated and thought out. But that at least had the vibe of, no, I'm literally I've just made this decision and let's go with it. And it must have felt right. And yeah, here we are. But honest, good for him. People getting the pot shots off like, oh, we've seen this before. Okay, like, clever. That's really smart. Like, maybe we can just allow one of the greatest football players of all time to retire. And yeah, okay, last year was a little screwy, blah, blah, blah. But people also called out the fact that it was almost guaranteed not to be a full retirement last year immediately after it happened. So if everyone can just chill on that, let the guy do his thing. That was my initial reaction anyway.
Sorry, can I jump in? Anybody else's wife immediately reacts and say, oh, what about Giselle, or say something about Giselle, or like the fact that he ripped his family apart for 18 more weeks of football? Or
yeah,
just me?
That might have come up in our house.
I think Kate still thinks that he's on the Patriots. I don't know. She couldn't care less. Yeah. But I mean, for me, like, it's gonna be, Bo, I hear what you're saying. It certainly accelerates the rebuild or whatever they're framing it as, reorganization. But for me, I wanted him back because it couldn't have been worse than this past year. That was just an utter disaster. Lots of factors, injuries, and coaching malpractice to be the most notable. But as a lifelong Bucs fan, I think it was 76. The franchise was the inaugural season. They've had only 12 playoff appearances in almost 50 years or whatever those numbers are.
Yeah.
Like they're the lowest winning percentage in the history of the NFL, and I believe in all professional sports. So for me,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, last I checked, that was the case.
That's a tough scene.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's been pretty nice to like turn on a Bucs game every week and be like, we're probably gonna win.
Yeah, and honestly,
for like 3 years.
I can't believe how many Bucs fans, like, I had a big piece I was working on all locked and loaded, like about like you should want Tom Brady back because like so many Bucs fans are forgetting this or they're new or something. Like,
oh god,
I'm like I don't know, just taking it for granted.
Dude, that's such a good microcosm, like almost for life. That everyone forgets so quickly, eh? How quickly the tide turns, right?
Grass is always greener.
Yeah, Bucs fans, can't you just be ecstatic that he picked you and that the marriage worked out, and not only with a few successful seasons and some fun teams, but an actual fucking Super Bowl win? Like, just remember the situation before. Like, Colin, it wasn't that long ago when over the Christmas holidays, we were watching the Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston Texans Bucs game, right? In a that was not that long ago, a few Christmases ago. Tom Brady wasn't on the team then, right?
Yeah.
So, like, just know that everyone's like, Tampa was lucky to have him. They maximized it despite how shitty this season was. That has no effect on whether or not it was worth it for Brady to come there. So.
Yeah, and Scott, by the way, just to kind of touch on what you're saying about the retirement thing, like I also hate that. Like in general, I don't care how much of a shell of their former selves a certain athlete is, which I don't think is even an issue for Brady. Like I said, I think there was other factors at play this year. Physically, he's fine. Mentally, he's fine. Whatever. But with any player, like who's debating retirement, I feel for them. I am empathetic for them. You have this incredible gift that has made you somewhere to belong and somewhere to excel and be great. I would imagine that is a torturous decision to have to make.
Yeah.
And what, you're not allowed to change your fucking mind? Like,
I know.
People.
I know. Just because they matter enough that what they do actually affects people, or that people actually have an opinion about it. Like, just shut up, man. It's so frustrating.
The reason people can't relate to that is because they're used to jobs where they know they're just counting down the days to retirement because they don't love what they do.
Yeah.
These guys love what they do. That's what it means. They love it.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah. Good on you.
I do think some of the Giselle comments are at least a little bit warranted. You know what I mean? Like, if it was literally like retire or we get divorced, or play or we get divorced, and he plays for one more year, so 4 months. Like, to me, that's more telling. Like, he was kind of okay with the potential with the divorce going through, right? I mean,
there must have been other stuff going on, yeah.
But so I will say, just between playing one more year and divorcing your wife, I can accept a few jokes there. But just like calling him out on the retirement, like, shut up. Like, oh my God. Yeah, it's so annoying.
It's funnier every time. Every time I hear it out loud, I'm just like, Jesus.
Yeah,
it is like a crazy ultimatum.
Yeah. It really is. Between two of the most famous people on the planet. Like, what? Like, they're just in their kitchen.
So publicly, played out so publicly as well, too.
Couldn't have been more public, basically. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
We had talked offline. I don't know if you guys followed through with your show prep on this one, but to pick a favorite Brady moment in Tampa, I'm seeing a nod from one of you. So I think Bo's always doing his homework. So he found a way probably. But yeah. Anyway, I'll start. I'll kick us off. And to me, it's undoubtedly the NFC Championship game in 2020. I mean, it was technically 2021, but it was a 2020 season. And it was in the first half. It was following Sean Murphy bunting interception. There were 7 seconds left in the half. Bucs Packers, Aaron Rodgers, MVP of the league. It's at Lambeau. It's fucking cold. So they have the ball at the Packers 40. Bucs call a timeout. Initial intention was, follow that conventional train of thought that send out the field goal unit, which we know if Todd Bowles was the coach would have happened. But Bucko Bruce, he quickly changed his course there and was like, screw that. Opted to send the offense back out. And within the blink of an eye, Brady snapped it. Casual, 3-step drop, perfect rainbow pass into the end zone, into a tight window to Scotty Miller. And 53 yards in the air, that ball traveled. And 1 second remaining in the half. So to me, this was it was an incredible feeling when they did that. Like, I've never felt so confident in this group, the coaching staff, just the mentality there. Of course, the execution as well, but just that risk it for the biscuit. They took a 21-10 lead on the road in the halftime, took all the momentum out of Lambeau. And I just thought it was an incredible moment. And of course, it gave them the cushion they needed to prevail in the second half. Things got dicey, but had they not put up that touchdown there, who knows what would have happened. So they punched their ticket to the Super Bowl because of it. And I just remember the feeling I had when that happened. I was so hyped, like so hyped. That was mine.
That was mine. That was mine.
I was gonna say it was a race to go first.
Yeah, because that was it, right? That I mean, I know Green Bay made a comeback and they made the controversial to kick a field goal? To kick a field goal to cut it to 8, I think, and then give the ball back, and Tampa just had to get 1 first down, if I remember correctly. Anyway, that's at halftime. Going into halftime, never thought the Bucs were going to lose that game in the second half. What a throw. Great decision. I mean, it's funny that I was thinking about, because I was trying to think about the Super Bowl, and I wanted to do it without going back and actually watching it. I can't remember much of it. I don't know why.
I've got one from that. I do have a backup.
Okay, you go, Bo.
Yeah, the Chiefs Super Bowl, obviously. LaShawn McCoy has a great breakdown of this, and it's behind inside baseball look at it. But anyways, AB catches a touchdown pass on Tyrann Mathieu.
Nasty route.
Yeah, nasty route. Brady loves it, just runs over all excited. Matthews pushes him or something, and he's just and Brady's about to apologize, and Tyrann is like, nah, fuck that. And Brady's like, okay, well, fuck you. And starts going crazy and pushes him back and stuff. It's just
he chased him. He chased him.
The ultimate Tom Brady, I'm a competitor. I was gonna be a sportsman, but then you did something fucked up, so fuck you too. And I'm gonna win this game very handily. So yeah, kind of embodied Brady's that run, that season in general for me. But yeah, the Scotty Miller catch is pretty undefeated from that year as well. So,
and if I could quote one from his Michigan days, one of the games I most vividly remember watching was a quick offshoot, because what Colin said about the 2021 NFC Championship game, but it was technically for we have to figure that out for football. Okay, God, yeah. We need to figure out the year that this can't. What just happened in college football can't be the 2023 national championship game. It was the 2022 Rose Bowl that happened 7 days prior or whatever. Yeah. It's just figure it out. What the fuck? This is not hard.
It's got to be the 2022. It's the 2022 season.
The 2022 championship game was played in 2023. We can all get our heads around that, for fuck's sake. Anyway.
No one's ever talked about that. It's true, though.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about it since I was 8. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, so the 2000 Orange Bowl, which was actually for the 99 season, Michigan was good. They weren't great, but they were 9-2. Playing Alabama, who had Sean Alexander on the team, who was absolutely unbelievable. And this is obviously way pre-Saban, so it was not a one-off good year for Alabama, but it wasn't like they were this juggernaut that they are now. But anyways, it was number 4 versus number 8. And Brady was just absolutely incredible. I think he threw for 350 and 4 touchdowns. They won 35-34. Alabama missed an extra point. And then Michigan just won the game. It was the weirdest, most anticlimactic / climactic win ever, because you obviously totally wasn't expecting him to miss the extra point. And then and that was his last game as a Wolverine, right? So leading into the draft to fall all the way to 199th overall after a good senior year, and especially an amazing performance against a good team. I don't know. That'll always just stick out in my maize and blue mind. So, yeah.
The other one for me is Tom Brady throwing the damn Lombardi trophy and off a boat and then stumbling off the boat a few hours later. Like, that was so cool. The boat parade, for one.
Yeah.
That's like the one cool thing about the COVID year. Like, that year was so shitty, and it's too bad like that it went down that way with them being the first franchise to win a Super Bowl at their home stadium. I mean, you know, if things were different and capacity and all that, then I just can imagine how lit it would have been.
And he was absolutely bombed, eh? Like, you can see he had the puke eyes, like he's fallen. He's huge too, which is hilarious. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, he was obliterated. It was incredible.
Yeah,
he threw the fucking Lombardi trophy off a boat. Like, that was unreal. That's something J.R. Smith would do if this was an NBA parade, you know?
Yeah. He might lose track at the time, but yeah, he would do it.
Yeah, he definitely hasn't figured out the year situation, the championship year.
Oh my God.
He's we won in 2017.
Shout out Flip Livingstone in the comments. Appreciate you stopping in. Big Flip. Big Flip is the Locked On Fantasy Hockey host for the Locked On Podcast Network. Make sure you check them out. Give them a subscription if you're into the puck. I know lots of Tampa Bay Lightning fans like to check out the show. My guy Flip hands out winners and keeps you dialed in on all the happenings. Anyway, I mean, shit. It was fun though. Like, talking about Tom Brady, you know, it was fun. It was awesome. I didn't take it for granted. I enjoyed it. This year was tough.
Dude, him going to Tampa felt like a ring in itself. Like, it was literally the endorsement of like, yeah, this team's gonna can win. Like, the only thing they're missing is me.
Yeah.
That's true.
And he talked about that. He talked about that at the whatever it is, gala dinner they had, like, following the victory, and his speech was pretty cool, man. Like, that's exactly what he was saying. He's like, you know, it was a no-brainer, were his exact words, to come here. Why wouldn't I? And he started listing off guys' names.
Nice.
And, like,
you know, you're not going there for the notoriety or like the mystique or the prestige of playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He came to the losing his franchise. I'm saying it again, in the all four professional sports, and won a fucking Super Bowl his first year for them, their second ever. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So,
and like, sorry, and not to take any drive-bys at Jameis, because it's like I don't think he's as bad as, you know, he gets credit for, or however you want to put it. But to just go from Jameis Winston to Tom Brady, has there ever been a bigger change at one position, maybe in sports? Like, it just personality, experience, and like part of that is just due to age as well, right? But just experience, character type, all of it is just, it's such a 180 for any Bucs fan who, like we said, we're watching one of those last games in I guess 2019 with Jameis, and then now you have Tom Brady as your quarterback. It's still unbelievable. It's still just so wild.
That's a great, like, talking about just like disparity between one player at a position to the next, like, how big it can be. I think of going from Vince Carter to Eric Williams for the Toronto Raptors.
Oh my God.
That one hurt. That one hurt real bad. Couple Raptors fans here, folks. For anyone who doesn't know, we do a pretty good job of keeping our NBA opinions off the airwaves here, but that one jumps right to the top of my memory.
Eric Williams, Aaron Williams. They're both
either or combined.
Ew.
Oh God, that was really Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Bucs' next quarterback. There's not a lot of light on that, obviously, because a lot could happen. But I do want to say also, shout out to Tom Brady for making the decision early in the process, because it helps the Bucs a lot in their search. And I'll talk about some of the OC guys who they're considering. But quarterback-wise, I mean, there's been a lot of Derek Carr chatter, and I think that makes sense. Now, let me be clear. I'm talking local chatter. And that makes sense because he's the best option available to any quarterback-needy team. So I bet you every fan base there's lots of Derek Carr chatter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He took a visit with the Saints, though, right?
Yeah, he was. It's funny, eh? He's like technically on the Raiders, but the Saints are granted permission to meet with them. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny professional sports these days, huh? The player empowerment era, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know how that works. But anyway,
Yeah.
But I can see some fan bases not liking Carr. I weirdly like Carr. I don't really have a great defense for it, other than I guess when I watch Raiders games, he seems to play pretty well. I don't know. Like I said, I never have a good feel for it. I don't know if he's the 11th best quarterback or if he's the 24th. I wouldn't call someone an idiot for making the argument either way, but I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't mind that at all for Tampa if it were to happen.
I'd like it if it could happen under the right circumstances. In terms of like salary, like the Bucs are up against the cap, so they're gonna have to do a bunch of stuff to make room. But if you're doing a trade, you're taking on a huge amount of salary and guaranteed money. Like I think his salary this year would be under 30, but then it jumps to like 40 or something.
But they're not. But no one's going to trade for him, right? If the Raiders are just going to have to cut him.
Well, that in that case, yes, but there's not certainty that that's how it's going to operate. You know what I mean? Like the Raiders are granting him interviews for a trade. Like otherwise, why the hell would they allow him to go talk to a team? You know what I'm saying? If they're just going to
give me a few suitors, right? Like
for sure,
I can see the Saints thinking this makes a lot of sense for them as well. Obviously,
fuck every team in that division.
Yeah. The Saints are even more up against the cap. And speaking of that division, I got Sam Darnold's name written down here. I just can't quit this dude. I see flashes.
You mean like
Scott, you're good. You know when to call an L and L because when
do you mean like flashes in your eyes when you have a concussion and you think Sam Darnold is good, or are you saying like flashes of brilliance?
I'm saying like the other options there. You know, Geno Smith, indications will probably be retained. He's technically a free agent. Ryan Tannehill is a guy who could be brought in, like Jacoby Brissett. I mean,
I'd rather Brissett for 1 year, $8 million, and then figure it out than Tannehill.
Yes, I would almost a full-fledged rebuild than Brissett. I don't know.
I think basically. The thing that we got to keep in mind here is that the Bucs are kind of in that no man's land where you can't really do a full-fledged rebuild this year, like the way that you're supposed to do it, because you don't actually have the pick for, like you kind of have the pick for it, but you don't really have the pick for it. You know what I mean?
Also, the team is good and the division is terrible.
Exactly, and the coaches and general managers see that they're not looking to rebuild. They want to be competitive for those exact reasons you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, right, that's what matters. Like if we're forecasting what might happen, they're going to try to win now. So they're like, I don't know, man. There's limited options if that's the plan. Who knows, man? Maybe they fall in love with one of these quarterbacks and totally out of character Jason Light decides to move up and try and get one. They're sitting at 19 right now. That would take a hefty amount of draft capital. Again, not something Jason Light is into at all. He's a mover backer.
Yeah.
Neil L on YouTube watching us. What it do, Neil? What it do, baby?
Hey.
Thanks for dropping by, my man. Bo, what were you going to say, my dude?
I don't know. I think they just kind of try to – I think the best way this season goes for Tampa is a bottom-out year. It's like you try and be competitive at the up front, and if it's not working with Bowles, you're seeing the same stuff over and over again. Cut ties with him, and you let Trask get a few snaps, see what happens there. I wouldn't be surprised if like we're going into week 9, week 10, and we're like, oh yeah, Trask is going to start next week.
But is that in that situation? Are they 3-6? Like, is that what you're saying? Like,
or like, even like 2 or 3 wins. Honestly,
I think they're too good to be that shitty.
I think just a new offensive coordinator. Like I genuinely, I watched every snap of this season. I genuinely think anyone is going to be a huge upgrade there. And then you also have Jensen healthy along the O-line, which is massive also.
That's massive, yeah.
Well, Bowden, I see what you're saying.
See what you have.
Yeah.
See what you have in the first 3 to 5 weeks, right? But if I don't know.
But that's not what they're going to do, I don't think. Like they're going to try to be competitive. Like they seem committed to that. Todd Bowles can't he's the head coach still. And after what happened this past year, that's the equivalent of having a losing season with what he had to work with and what the results panned, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So like
but I also think that Todd Bowles is trying as hard as he possibly could last season too. And I don't think that he did an awesome job.
No, he did. It was a terrible job. It was a terrible job.
True.
Other than he was
That's a
good
good
as
point.
he was good as a DC. He was good as a defensive coordinator. And yes, unfortunately, that is a good point.
He's tried
Yeah.
pretty hard before. I don't know.
Yeah.
This guy
Yeah,
sucks.
he's gonna try really hard. Let him try really hard for 3 to 5 weeks. And if we're getting kind of the same thing of like a lot of first down runs, he's going over the OC's head.
But what are we saying? But let's say they bring in like literally Jacoby Brissett, right? I feel like with this team and in a shred of competence from the coaching staff and an improved play calling, they can pick your win total. I don't know, 9-8, 10-7, but that team is the best team in this division.
But guys, is that good? Like, I don't think that's good for, like, when I say bottom out, I think that's a better outcome than
we
another
agree. They don't think that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess so.
Exactly.
You're right. And that's what they should. But I think they think the team is too good. And all of it, people like around the NFL, it's always like, if we just get into the tournament, anything can happen. You know what I mean? So then you just start looking at the other 3 teams in your division. And I don't think I think that's a pretty, myopic way to look at it or whatever. But that's how there is some value to that, I suppose.
Yeah. I just never want to have 8 wins. I just don't want to have 8 wins in this
totally get it.
league ever.
Totally get it.
It's a horrible treadmill to be on.
But because of their geography, 8 wins might mean a home playoff game, right?
I know, but it also means 19th in the draft, and like you're just constantly like, I've got Brissett again. You're going to be able to sign Jacoby Brissett every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah. Until they can hold out to the free agency class where they find a quarterback that they actually like. That's what I'm interested in, because let's say they just don't want to be tied to Derek Carr for 4 or 5 years. Like they like him, don't love him. Then I wouldn't do that, right?
Oh, well, here's the counter argument. We've beaten around the bush a little bit too long here. What if this guy that's out in complete darkness for the next 4 days comes out of there and says, I want to play football again? Are you willing to give up the 19th pick and some more capital to go after Aaron Rodgers?
Hell
You're
yeah.
talking about, I thought because Jimmy Garoppolo's in a haunted house. Okay, never mind. You meant Rodgers. Okay. That would be interesting.
Hell yes,
that would be interesting.
Hell yes. This team is built to win now around an elite quarterback. Like, it's just like, it's too perfect. Like, yeah, fuck yeah. Do whatever it takes if you have a legitimate shot to grab Aaron Rodgers, I would say.
They sign Aaron Rodgers. Collins all of a sudden going to start telling people he's immunized and not vaccinated.
Yeah.
Just change up the old verbiage a little. That is that's honestly fascinating. Say what you will. If Rodgers is the quarterback next year, I'm picking him to go like 12-5 or something.
Oh yeah,
low key, he's kind of the most Florida man in the league.
Is he though? Like, I just can't even picture him in that. Is he though? Like, I don't know.
Oh, I think he's got a lot of his own research. I think he's willing
to. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, what you're saying for sure. Yeah.
I think he breeds gators.
Yeah.
I think you can convince him of a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, but from a football standpoint, a Rodgers to Evans.
Oh God.
Combination, you can see that popping off the page popping off the screen pretty quickly. Godwin's
going to be
like
nasty next year.
On steroids.
Yeah.
Godwin's going to be nasty next year.
Yeah.
Randall Cobb on steroids.
And a couple, I've read a couple articles and seen some things about Rodgers preferring to stay in the NFC, considering the absolute fucking gauntlet the AFC is right now, right? Like,
I know if he goes to the Raiders, it's like, holy shit.
Or the Jets. Imagine he goes like him going to the Jets is just the height of hilarity.
I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. He wants to go save Hackett, the Jets' new offensive coordinator.
Also, didn't Favre go from the Packers to the Jets for a year, which is a little bit funny?
And he'll make his way back to Minnesota after that.
But seriously, the Raiders for Rodgers, like, holy shit. Obviously, I don't know about Wilson anymore, but let's say he gets back to something that resembles a starting quarterback again. And then with Mahomes and Herbert all in one division, I don't know. I think Rodgers is competitive, but I don't think he's an absolute psycho when it comes to this stuff. I think he would weigh his options pretty carefully in terms of trying to find out a path to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like objectively, it would be a pretty good situation to walk into.
Yeah, I also don't want to put myself in that guy's head ever, so I hope I'm wrong.
True.
What about the other side, Jimmy G?
Oh, fuck no. I'm the most anti-Jimmy G guy there is, man.
Okay.
I'm the least Jimmy G believer.
1 year, 6.5, and he gives you his grooming tips.
Wait, $6.5 million?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great deal.
It's the funny season, baby. I'm throwing it out there.
But no, give me Gabbert for 2.5. Thank you.
What about Baker Mayfield?
No.
Star, no.
No,
I don't believe in him at all. Just like I don't believe in Jimmy G. I just don't think they're good. They've had that enough chances. They're not good enough. Their ceiling is too low.
Yeah, they haven't proven it like Gabbert.
I can't wait till 2 years from now when I'm like, what about Sam Darnold? And you're like, nope.
What about Brissett?
I'm joking about the Gabbert thing. No, I don't like anyone. I don't want anyone. I don't want anyone.
Okay, fine.
I want to play.
Tom.
Yeah.
Who do you want then? Honestly,
you have power rankings?
I would like. I would like to see Derek Carr in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to see Derek Carr. That is what I want.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the caveat, let's throw Rodgers out just because it seems
like obviously I
so
want
unlikely that it's gonna go Brady and then Rodgers, and maybe that's not even reasonable or rational. Maybe Tampa is more in the mix for Rodgers than we realize, but it just doesn't seem likely. No. So then that's where Carr. Okay, fair.
I want to talk to about the Bucs OC situation because that's a big one too. I mean, Bucs, the Senior Bowl has come and gone, and the Bucs don't have an offensive coordinator in place. And this is a general manager in a front office that highly values the Senior Bowl. They've drafted a ton of guys at the Senior Bowl. They don't even have an OC right now, which is a pretty big deal. Mm-hmm. But they're doing their due diligence, that's for sure. They've interviewed a boatload of candidates. Dan Pitcher, the Bengals QB coach, had his second interview today. Granted, his first was like a Skype one or whatever, so this was an in-person, but still technically a second interview. Only one to have multiple interviews. Dave Canales, Seahawks QB coach, was announced he's going to be interviewing. Todd Monken, obviously former Buccaneers OC, two-time defending national champion OC for the Georgia Bulldogs. Jim Bob Cooter has been in the building. Pass game coordinator for the Jags, former Lions OC with Matt Stafford. Couple sick receivers have interviewed even for the role. We got Keenan McCardell.
No way.
Yeah. He was wicked too. I think he had 2 tutties in that first 0-2 Super Bowl. I always freaking throw up the wrong. For anyone who's at home, I'm pointing to my banner, but pointed the wrong way. And Ronald Curry,
oh my God.
Yeah, he's the Saints passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach.
I did not know that.
Yeah, man. So those are like dope receivers. First of all, not like that should have anything to do with anything, but then a couple less sexy names.
Curry can still bust everyone up if they're playing pickup hoops too.
Hell yeah, for sure. And then Clint Kubiak, like ew. Shea Tierney, Giants QB coach. I don't mean to say ew, like that's not fair to say that about Clint Kubiak. He's the Broncos pass game coordinator. I think he's
well. Then you can.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like those are the names. I just rifled through them. I don't know enough about them. Like I don't know what they are truly about. You know what I'm saying? So like for me to like weigh in on who I want, I don't know. I'm certainly intrigued though by this Dan Pitcher, Bengals QB coach. I mean, Joe Burrow will do that to you.
Did you see that the list of questions from Bowles got leaked? And it was just one question. It says, "Do you like punting?" I thought that was is that like one of those how many windows are in New York City kind of questions, or is he literally just talking about punting? I gotta think it's the latter.
No, I didn't see that report.
Oh yeah, no, I think I tweeted it out. I didn't get a second source.
Neil, sorry, Scotty, give me a sec. Neil on YouTube. he likes Pitcher and Monken. I tend to agree. Those are the names that excite me the most out of the ones I just mentioned. So I'm with you there, Neil. No doubt. Sorry, Scotty. Go ahead, man.
Oh no. I was just gonna say it's funny, of all those candidates, not that many. I don't know. I guess I thought it would be slightly bigger names or bigger resumes, I suppose. Not to say that these guys aren't qualified or can't do it. I think I was just, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I don't know how many big names
it's a
are
little late
available.
in the process for a big name.
Late in the process, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
but
sure.
they got on it pretty quick. Like how many big names got scooped up? Kellen Moore left, but they parted ways with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that seemed like it was already
And
together the way that
Monk-
it came out.
I think Monken's been like the offensive coordinator for the Bucs before. Yeah, I'm just bringing up his Wikipedia here. 2016.
I got his Wikipedia up here, bro.
Yeah. So I don't know, some familiarity.
Monken. The funny thing about Monken is he is known for a pass heavy offense.
Mhm.
Like Jameis's career year was under Monken. He was part of the Dirk Cutter regime, so he was let go of when the Bucs cut bait with Dirk Cutter, and then he's had a lot of success in Georgia. He's done a hell of a job in Georgia with Stenson Bennett. Holy shit!
Yeah,
I like what they were running from.
it's true.
So, but you never know. You never know.
It's never been more pronounced to me than when one of the coordinators from let's say Clemson or any of those, or Georgia or Alabama, any of those teams that just have way more talent than everyone else. I don't mean to take away from them, because it doesn't mean that you can't call plays, but it is overwhelmed. You don't have the talent gap in the NFL that you can in a potential college season, right? So that's just more and more obvious to me than it ever has. It gives me a little bit of pause, but that doesn't mean that they can't do it.
It's a very valid point to bring up in general. I think, and I've thought of that in Monken's case, though, the Georgia Bulldogs defense has been so elite. Under Monken, the offense has taken serious strides, in terms of their production. So that's also worth noting.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens there on the OC front. I'd like them to get something settled, though. They're going to have to pull the trigger at some point, and hopefully sooner than later. Speaking of OCs, Byron Leftwich apparently reached out to Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, and now there's mutual interest regarding the OC vacancy that they have for the Fighting Irish. So if you're an Irish fan, I mean, tread lightly, man. Byron's hiring himself. I don't know.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
He reached out. I'm going to reach out for some CEO jobs and see if anyone nibbles.
Right? Yeah.
Is that how it goes? Holy shit. I mean, good for you, I guess, Byron.
I'm not sure if they have a background together or not. I should have looked into that. If there's a personal relationship, I don't know. But apparently there's mutual interest after all. So, okay. I think that's good for Bucs talk for now. I mean, it is Super Bowl week, and the Super Bowl's coming up quick. So, how are you guys feeling about this matchup here between the Chiefs and the Eagles? I think it's a great matchup. It is a very intriguing game with, lots of star power and two really good football teams. I mean, you can't act like these teams have proven to be the two best teams, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
number one seeds for sure.
The 2 1 seeds, it's a great matchup. I mean, I'm excited to watch, but I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to watching it. I can't say I'm super jacked up for the game. I don't know. Maybe this bye week is just killing it for me more than it has in past years for whatever reason. There's just other things going on, but yeah, once we actually get to it on Sunday, I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I really like this game. Yeah, I really like it. I think I'm leaning Eagles if I have to pick, but Scott offline, I know I'm not trying to spoil your lead here. You like the Chiefs, right?
Yeah,
and then I totally get that.
I know.
I think that's a great fair angle. I just I think it's gonna come down to Jalen Hurts, which seems like a cop out, but let me just explain. It's the Chiefs have these young rookie DBs, and I'm not worried. The Eagles are so well set up everywhere positionally. They're so sound. That I feel like all of their position groups are going to execute their jobs from specifically in the trenches. O-line, D-line are going to be really effective. They have great receivers. Their DBs are going to hope. Well, that's obviously going to be a challenge for them, but regardless, they're good DBs, cornerbacks mainly.
Yeah.
And it's if Jalen Hurts is dialed in the passing game, like that's where you can exploit KC most obviously. And these rookie corners have been playing really well, but with those receivers, if Jalen Hurts comes out dialed and he's got the big game experience, it's not at this level, then I think it's going to be really hard for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles.
Yeah, I feel like their it comes down to their roster for me, just like with you, man. Like just feels like that roster is so good that it's just like so tough to pick against it. But yeah, I don't know. I terrified of Mahomes. It's really going to be tough to like lay it with the Eagles if it comes down to that.
Yeah, I don't know. As good as the Eagles have been, and Hurts has been great. I don't think Hurts is this weirdly overmatched quarterback where he's just somehow the guy who is taking snaps for this team that made the Super Bowl. Like, no, he's done his part. He's been phenomenal all year. I can't quit Mahomes, man. We've seen it. I just don't think there's any way he plays a bad game. He has another week or 2 weeks, to figure out his ankle and everything. And I don't like people are talking about the Eagles roster versus the Chiefs roster and how it's such a big difference. I don't think it's as pronounced as it's being made out to be. Like, I think the Eagles are maybe top to bottom better, but it's not like the Chiefs are Mahomes plus, this shitty roster. To me, it comes down to what Hurts can do on first and second down, because if those Chiefs pass rushers can pin their ears back, it's like that's where they can get you, right? So if the Eagles can stay, this is the key to football. I'm not really, breaking the mold here, but if they can stay in 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 3s sort of thing, I think that's going to be very hard for the Chiefs and those young DBs to hold up. So that's it for me, because if it's 3rd and long, even though Hurts can pull down the ball and run, I think that Chiefs defensive line are going to get to him enough times to get them off the field, right? You only have to make a couple stops. Really,
it's not the Bengals banged up O line though. This is the best offensive line.
I know, but I know. It's different.
Those are a couple of elite guys though on that defensive line, regardless. So I hear what you're saying.
But that's just it. It's a 1 point. Like, Philly's favored by 1 or 1.5, depending where you get it right now. Like, there's going to be a couple matchups that determine it, and I think if everything plays out relatively evenly, I just trust Mahomes and the Chiefs to score. So. But Colin said the reverse. You see where I would take the Chiefs. I totally get where people are taking the Eagles. I haven't rushed to bet Kansas City, by the way. Like, I still haven't done it. So I still want to wait, see if there's any more movement that goes on between now and Sunday morning kind of thing. But I don't know, man. It's 2 really good teams. Like.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. So, like, for the sake of the podcast, I'm coming out saying who I'm going to take it in a win because I figure I got to make a pick. But, like, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be real close. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, and I hope everyone's at their best. Mainly, like, I know Mahomes will be. Like, Mahomes is going to be great, like you said. I hope that's why it comes back to Hurts for me. I hope Hurts plays well, because if he does, we're in for a hell of a football game.
Yeah.
Even though I do believe that the Eagles' entire roster is significantly better, personally, but that can be made.
The Eagles are picking 10th in the draft.
I know.
Like,
I know.
How is this allowed?
Howie Roseman is God.
Holy. Yeah,
like
it's just the fact that their roster is this good at this late in the stage, like, and I think they're healthier than the Chiefs now, just based on what we've seen so far. Like, and coming out of the last week, obviously, L'Jarius Sneed being able to go is huge for the Chiefs. But, I'm having a tough time picking against the Eagles roster, even though Mahomes is there, even though I think Travis Kelce is probably the best pass catcher in the game too. I feel like it's just really tough to pick against the Eagles right now.
Yeah, as great as Mahomes is, like, he still doesn't have the weapons at his disposal at all these different positions that Hurts does.
But why? How has that mattered?
Well, it hasn't so far because no team has managed to stop Kelce. But again, I don't think the defenses they're playing have been nearly as good as what the Eagles
Yeah.
can do.
And I don't know how the schedule of defenses, just the schedule in general that Philly's played hasn't been that great either.
That's true.
But
That's true too. And they both teams, well, probably the Eagles more so, have. You know what? It's funny. I'm talking about the roster around Hurts. When Hurts was out, the Eagles were losing football games all of a sudden.
Yeah, true.
So I'm kind of contradicting myself. Like, as I'm saying, it's all on Hurts. Well,
yeah,
the Eagles have shown. I mean, they've come out of nowhere this year, right? And they showed that they hadn't been there before at points. So we'll see. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be a good football game.
You're a Chiefs fan, and you're going up against, Hurts, who was an MVP candidate this year. Devontae and AJ Brown, like, holy shit, man! Like,
yeah,
I get it. It's
Goddard too, man. Goddard is super good.
Yeah,
Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell.
Gainwell's played well. And like we talked about how good the offensive line's been. I
also their defensive line is ridiculous,
Yeah.
and their defensive secondary is ridiculous. Like it's tough to put up points against those guys.
And with them, they have Avonte Maddox and Chauncey. Oh fuck, what's
CJ Johnson?
Yeah, goofball. But they have all these guys who are equipped of like they just kind of, I don't want to say they match up well, but they really can defend the pass well in different ways,
especially in the middle of the field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if they can ski and really like blanket and bracket Kelsey, which somehow though Andy Reid is so good, or Kelsey is so good first and foremost, and Mahomes, but those two and Andy Reid find a way to just keep getting them the ball.
But that's the killer thing about Mahomes is he can absolutely murder you from the pocket if you don't play play coverage initially super well. But you also have to think about him scrambling and making that extra, taking a step back to buy an extra second to get someone else open. As good as they are, it's just hard to cover for that long, right? That's the killer for me with Mahomes. It's like you play so well and you play defense well for like 7 seconds, which is almost impossible to do, and he still can just get you, and that's it just always stays in my mind.
Totally, but I am curious. I mean, about the severity of his ankle injury. Like
for
2 weeks is nice, but he was hobbling, so that can potentially have a pretty significant impact on what you're saying there.
That's true.
Even when he's hobbled, though, he does it in the pocket.
I know,
it's incredible.
Yeah,
his pocket presence.
Doing it better. Like he's gonna have to do it without McCole Hardman for sure, taking the top off. Kadarius Toney most likely won't be out. I think he's practicing.
I think he's playing.
Juju Kadarius Toney and Juju,
playing.
Are they both going to play?
I haven't seen Juju, but Toney is supposed to play from what I saw today.
Oh, right. Juju Smith-Schuster, right? He's like questionable, like legit questionable. No, I saw his
and like MBS has been good over this playoffs, but it's just it's tough to trust their receivers.
Did you say MVS or MBS?
Either both are applicable.
MVS is like the Saudi crown prince, isn't it?
Yeah, or just
he was a late round gem. People didn't see his didn't see his potential at Saudi Arabia State.
Yeah,
nice pun.
Arabia State.
Yeah, nice pun with the gem reference.
Yeah,
too.
Well, there's layers to it.
Anyway, I don't.
I'm just saying everything that we're discussing is awesome because we're making a point, and then there's the caveat of fuck it, but maybe not, right?
Yeah, there's a counter to every point. Yeah, counter to every point. It could go. This combo could go on forever.
Yeah, it screams like a great 30-27 type game to me. Like awesome.
I was thinking 31-28 is what I'm. I'll say 31-28 Eagles. That'll be my prediction.
Okay.
Why don't we just go with the what's the guy who's predicted the Super Bowl all the years? So I think he did 37-34 Eagles.
Oh yeah, I saw that, some sort of leaked script or something.
Yeah, apparently it's the most bet like exact score in Vegas right now.
Yeah, what the what is that about?
Psycho.
80-1. Also, quick little plug. Pretty cool that the golf tournament is in like the craziest, maybe the most fun golf tournament of the year is in Phoenix, obviously, and it's leading up into the game, right? So that's pretty cool. Yeah,
there's gonna be some rowdy people.
Yeah,
some rowdy coyotes.
Just a few. Yeah. Okay. So I'll take the Chiefs 30-27, as I said, and who knows? Fuck.
Bo, you gonna give us or did you give us one?
I did. I said 37-34. It's a joke. I am gonna say, let's go 31-28 Eagles.
Oh,
Same
okay.
as me, yeah. Same as me.
Yeah.
We're
sorry.
really no, that's okay.
I didn't realize that's what you said too. My bad.
No, that's good. That's fine. Who cares? They're fucking numbers.
What a loser.
I'm trying to get on his good side.
Yeah.
Okay, the only other thing
time.
before we get on up out of here, I wanted to mention it also came out that Brady will indeed, because we've talked about how fantastic. I think we've talked about it. I've certainly tweeted about it, how fantastic Greg Olsen has been. I think we've talked about it, but and how Brady, of course, he's going to be getting. It was a $375 million deal for 10 years to be Fox's next lead in-game analyst. He's going to take a year off with his family, which Fox has approved. So that came out this week in interview with Colin Cowherd on the Herd. And so in 2024 is the plan for Brady to debut, though. He's confirming that's the plan. So he's going to be in the booth up in the booth come 2024. We'll have another year of Greg Olsen, and just figured I would mention that because that is interesting.
Hey, Fox, give us a 3-man. We want Greg Olsen and Tom Brady in the same booth.
We don't really even need that much money. We would just take like a cheese plate, to be completely honest. Also, and for the next episode, just a quick plug. I am going to see 80 for Brady, so it'll be a full movie review.
Are you really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know if Lydia was into that or something.
Yeah, she's a big Lily Tomlin fan. No, but yeah, that movie looks bad.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. All right. Well, to all our loyal listeners, to any new viewers, however you're watching or listening, we greatly appreciate you joining us here as we've, offered a little trip down memory lane in regards to TB12 in Tampa Bay, an era that has officially ended. We talked a little bit Bucs news, Bucs OC search, and a little bit of a Super Bowl preview and a whole bunch of other stuff along the way. So again, thank you for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. You can find all my written work for Sports Illustrated at bucksgameday.com, where we're putting out tons of articles each and every day, all season long and off season long. So there's your content plugs. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we get a good Super Bowl. Sounds like we all expect we will. Till next time, go Bucs.